an age of towering glory, when the island of Númenor rose like a jewel from the ocean, a shadow began to stir. Númenor, the greatest kingdom of men, stood as a beacon of power and splendor, blessed by the Valar and unrivaled in strength. Yet its fall was inevitable, woven into the very fabric of its history. The Númenorians, long-lived and proud, grew restless under the limits placed upon them. They turned their gaze westward, yearning for immortality, the gift of the Valar that was not theirs to claim. Under the influence of Sauron, a servant of darkness who came to Númenor as a prisoner but rose as a deceiver, their pride became their undoing. The great king Ar-Pharazôn, in his arrogance, dared to defy the Valar, sailing to Aman to seize eternal life. But his ambition brought ruin. In their wrath, the Valar called upon Eru-Ilúvatar, and Númenor was swallowed by the sea, a proud kingdom lost beneath the waves. Yet, as the tides churn over that drowned isle, a question lingers. What if Númenor had not fallen? Let us discover together. Our tale begins on the eve of Númenor's darkest hour, when the shadow of Sauron reached the sacred roots of the white tree, Nimloth. Under the deceiver's counsel, Ar-Pharazôn, the mightiest of Númenorian kings, resolved to destroy the tree, a symbol of Númenor's ancient bond with the Valar. This act, more than any before, marked the severing of the kingdom's spirit from the light of the west. The faithful, led by Elendil, son of the noble line of Andúni, could no longer remain silent. The whispers of rebellion, long confined to the harbours of Romena, stirred into resolve. Elendil, heir to the wisdom of Númenor's first kings, knew that this was the moment to act. Though they had endured years of persecution, the time for quiet resistance had passed. Tar-Míriel, the rightful queen and last daughter of the royal line, became their rallying point. Though her throne had been stolen, her presence carried the weight of Númenor's ancient glory. As the Dark Temple rose in Armenelos and the fires of Nimloth's destruction were prepared, Elendil and the faithful forged a plan. Before the ceremony that would mark the tree's end, a gathering of the lords was called in the king's house. It was there, beneath the golden dome and among the murals of Númenor's triumphs, that Tar-Míriel took her stand, embodying the defiance of a kingdom that had once stood unshaken. Her presence alone rekindled memories of Númenor's early kings, those who had walked in the light of the Valar and sought no dominion beyond their charge. The lords, many hardened by years of service to Ar-Pharazôn, wavered as the echoes of the past struck like waves upon a weathered stone. The faithful, emboldened by her courage, stood taller, and their voices grew louder. Even among the king's men, doubts began to stir, but the power of Míriel's defiance was not easily dismissed. Yet, also from the beginning, they bore a special love to the Eldar and reverence for the Valar, and as the shadow grew, they aided the faithful as they could, but for long they did not declare themselves openly, and sought rather to amend the hearts of the Lords of the Scepter with wiser counsels. The rebellion of Tar-Míriel marked the turning point in Númenor's history, a moment when the tides of shadow and light clashed. Her defiance, bolstered by the faithful under Elendil's leadership, shattered the illusion of unity that had held Númenor under Ar-Pharazôn's rule. The kingdom, once mighty and unyielding, now stood on the brink of division. The king's men, led by Ar-Pharazôn and influenced by Sauron's insidious counsel, faced an unexpected challenge. Tar-Míriel's call to the ancient ways and Elendil's unwavering resolve awakened doubts even among those who had long followed the path of power and pride. In courtrooms and harbours, whispered debates turned into open arguments, and the once mighty faction of the king's men began to fracture. As the rebellion grew, it became clear that Númenor could no longer contain both the faithful and the king's men. The kingdom's ideological rift deepened, and those who remained loyal to Sauron and the worship of Melkor found themselves increasingly isolated. When the tide of resistance swelled to encompass much of Númenor, the most fanatical of the king's men chose exile over submission. Ar-Pharazôn, unwilling to accept the restoration of Númenor's ancient ways, turned his gaze eastward to the vast and unclaimed lands of Middle-earth. Under Sauron's guidance, he gathered his remaining followers and boarded his great fleet. Leaving the Isle behind, he sought to carve a new dominion in the lands of men, one unbound by the Valar's oversight. Then Sauron spoke to the king and counselled him, saying, "The lords of the West have ever feared that men should wrest from them the undying lands and make themselves equal to the Valar. Therefore, they have laid these prohibitions upon you to keep you weak and far from their might." Sauron's words emboldened the exiled Númenorians, fueling their desire for vengeance and dominion. They landed in Middle-earth, establishing strongholds along the coasts and deep within its lands. These exiles, embittered by their rejection and driven by pride, became the Black Númenorians, vassals to Sauron and stewards of his growing power. The great strongholds they built, Umbar chief among them, became bastions of darkness, centers of slavery, and fortresses from which Sauron's will stretched across Middle-earth. The Black Númenorians, wielding the might and knowledge of Númenor, became a scourge to the free peoples, their ships raiding the shores and their armies spreading fear. The rebellion of Tar-Míriel and the faithful ushered in a new dawn for Númenor, one that rivaled the splendor of its earliest days. Freed from the shadow of arrogance and despair, the kingdom rose again, a beacon of hope upon the seas. Guided by the wisdom of the Valar and the counsel of the Eldar, Númenor began to rebuild, its scars transformed into the foundation of renewal. The harbours, once marked by ships of conquest, now bustled with the rhythm of trade and discovery. Númenorian vessels, their sails gleaming like sunlight on the waves, carried gifts of friendship to distant shores. The elves of Lindon, bound by ancient ties, sent emissaries to Ar-Menellos, sharing their knowledge of craft and healing. Under their guidance, the kingdom flourished, reclaiming its place as the jewel of the mortal world. The faithful, now at the heart of Númenor's governance, led with humility and reverence for the Valar. The white tree, Nimloth, was replanted in the royal courts, its blossoms unfurling under the soft light of the stars. Its fragrance filled the air, a living symbol of Númenor's renewed bond with the West. From the golden domes of Ar-Menellos to the quiet villages by the sea, the spirit of the Valar seemed to touch every corner of the land, as if the light of Aman itself had returned to Númenor. Yet, even as Númenor reached new heights, subtle signs of unrest began to emerge. Through the Palantiri, the seeing stones gifted by the Eldar, the faithful caught fleeting glimpses of growing shadows in the distant east. Ships from Lindon brought whispers of banners unfurling beneath a darkened sky and of oaths sworn to an unseen master. Quiet words from elven emissaries spoke of Sauron's return, his spirit unbroken despite the sea's fury. Among the exiled kingsmen, he had found willing allies who now raised fortresses and armies in his name. Though Númenor stood far from the reaches of this new darkness, the faithful knew that the shadow cast by Sauron's growing power stretched long and threatened the free peoples of Middle-earth. The air in the courts of Ar-Menellos grew heavy with foreboding as Tar-Míriel and her council deliberated their next steps. Númenor would not remain idle while the lands of Middle-earth fell under Sauron's dominion. Elendil, now revered as the leader of the faithful, was tasked with establishing Númenorian realms in Middle-earth. His sons, Isildur and Anarion, would join him in this endeavour, carrying with them the hope of Númenor. A great fleet was prepared, its sails kissed by the winds of the west. With them, the faithful carried treasures of their renewed kingdom, the Palantiri, gifts of the Eldar, the sapling of Nimloth, a reminder of Númenor's bond with the Valar, and the wisdom of a reborn Númenor. They landed upon the shores of Middle-earth, where they established two mighty kingdoms. Arnor, a land of vast plains and ancient hills, where Elendil built a realm steeped in the traditions of Númenor's early kings. Gondor, a kingdom of towering cities, its heart in Osgiliath, with Minas Ithil and Minas Arnor standing as vigilant guardians against the encroaching darkness. Elendil the Tall and his mighty sons, Isildur and Anarion, brought with them the memory of the West, and they raised realms of hope and strength in the midst of a darkening world. The founding of Gondor and Arnor marked the beginning of a new chapter in Númenor's legacy. These realms became bastions of light and resilience, their towers rising as enduring symbols of Númenor's commitment to the Valar and its determination to stand against the darkness. The rebellion of Tar-Míriel and the faithful not only saved Númenor from destruction, but charted a new course for its legacy. With the Valar's blessing and the Eldar's guidance, the kingdom reclaimed its place as the pinnacle of mortal achievement. Yet, as Númenor flourished, shadows continued to stir in Middle-earth, where the exiled kingsmen, led by Ar-Pharazôn and Sauron, sought to rebuild their dominion. The founding of Gondor and Arnor extended Númenor's light across the lands, offering hope to the free peoples. But this alternate history leaves a tantalizing question. How might the survival of Númenor shape the fate of Middle-earth? Would its strength and influence alter the events of the Second Age? Could Sauron's ambitions still rise to challenge a united Númenor and its allies? Share your theories and ideas in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take on this alternate history. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more Middle-earth tales. As always, may the stars shine upon your faces.